Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second session on Web+Firebase by GDSC Avantika University. So, we would like to welcome you to this hands-on session. And this session is in alliance with GDSC Poornima College of Engineering, GDSC Amity University, Mumbai, GDSC Indore Institute of Science and Technology, and GDSC Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So in the previous session, we learned how to create a front end for a website in HTML and CSS. So this is something like somewhat like what the website looks like, as you can see on your screen. And today in this session, we'll be basically we'll be integrating Firebase on our web page that we created in the last session, and we'll be integrating Firebase to it, and we'll be performing CRUD operations on this. So, what are CRUD operations? So, CRUD, CRUD. It stands for create, read, update, and delete. So, we'll be creating entries in a database, we'll be reading them, we'll be updating them, and we'll be deleting them. So, that's why we had created these four buttons in the previous session. So let's start off with how first we'll just go through the code once. So this was the HTML code that we wrote in the last session. So we had created four input fields: for roll number, name, gender, and address. And then we had four buttons: insert, read, update, and delete. And we gave IDs to these input fields and buttons: roll number, name, gender, address, and insert, read, update, delete, as you can see on the screens. So here, first of all, we will in we need to add three script tags. So I have created two JavaScript files. One is called fireconfig, which will have the code of to initialize the app, to configure the app with Firebase. And second is myscript.js tag. I'll explain what it does. Myscript.js file, and I'll explain what it does in ahead. So starting off with, first we have to add the script tag for Firebase, and you can find this on the website, the Firebase itself. I'll show you where. And then another script tag referring to this fireconfig.js, and another one referring to this myscript.js. So moving ahead, we'll first add Firebase to our project. So in a new window, I'll open Firebase. I'll hit get started. First, if you haven't logged in with your Google accounts, log in here, and then you can go click on get started. And here I first will create a new project. So add project. I'll add a name here. So let's say CRUD with Firebase. So I have given it a name, and I'll hit continue. Then yeah, I want to enable Google Analytics for this project and continue. Now I just select an account and create project, and Firebase will create a project for me. And there we have it. There we go. So our project is ready. So moving on, we'll go to the Firebase console, and we'll go to our project CRUD with Firebase. And first of all, we'll go to real-time database. So this is what we'll be using to store data. It stores data in JSON format, uh, whereas there is another way to store data is with Firestore database, which also stores data on cloud, and it stores it in document format, collections of documents, in the form of collections of documents. So this real-time database stores it in JSON, stores data in JSON format. So I hit create database. Once I get come to real time database, this you can keep as it is. And next, then we'll start in test mode as of now, and we'll enable it. And here Firebase has created a real-time database for us. Now we have to do this thing. We have to uh, edit the rules. So we want to change the read and write to true, and same for write, and we'll hit publish. So here we have updated the rules, and now we can read and write to this project with our web page. So now we'll move to project settings, and we'll connect. We haven't added any application to this project, this Firebase project yet. So we want to add a web application. So we'll click on web, and we'll give this a name. I'll just give it the same name as we have given for our Firebase project, Garg Firebase, and we'll register the app. And then we have to add this Firebase SDK to our project. So here we'll get the Firebase config and this API key and authentication domain, database URL, and everything, project ID and all that. And we have to copy this whole thing, and we'll add it to our Firebase config. And there we go. Application is connected to Firebase now, registered with Firebase. So we can go back to the console, and we just go back to real-time database. And now we'll be performing the CRUD operations on this website. So our task with this fireconfig.js is done. So next we'll move on to myscript.js. So here what I'll do is I'll just create 4 variables first. Uh, Role v, name v, gender v, and address v. So these are just variables right now, and now we have to perform 4 different functions, 4 different operations based on 4 different button clicks. So we have referenced these buttons with IDs. So we'll create a sorry, we have added some IDs to this button, IDs to these button elements. So we reference those buttons by using this. So a document dot get element by ID, get element by ID, and the ID here we can, as we can see, the ID of the first button is insert. So insert, and we want to perform some function on when we click on this button. So that's why on click, this is an event listener, and then we'll run a function, and there we go. So as soon as I click the insert button, and the function, whatever I write inside inside this, and this function will run. So same we have to create for in the read, update, and delete. So I'll just copy this down. Read, read, and delete. So we have 4 event listeners referencing these 4 buttons: insert, read, update, and delete. Now, what we for every function, first we need to read whatever we write in these input fields. So we have these four input fields here. So whatever with like when we are inserting something, we need to write some enter something in these four input fields, and then we'll hit insert, so that it will get inserted in our database. So first I need to read whatever is written in these input fields. So here I'll just since I need to perform this function every time in each case, that's why I'll just create a new function called read form. So there we go. I have created a new function called read form, and inside this function, I'll assign values to these four variables that we had created. So we'll reference to these input fields and take whatever is written inside these input fields, and we'll store it in these four variables that we have created. So starting with role v, we'll write document dot get element by id, and first is role, and we need the value. There we go. So whatever is stored inside this input field, which has the id role, will be stored in that way in the variable role v. So same we need to do for the rest. Here we just change the names, name v, gender v, and address v. Same for this. There we go. And just to check whether it's taking whether we have got whatever is in the input fields, we'll also log it on the console. So console.log role v, add uh, name v, gender v, address. Okay, so whatever is in this input field, we have logged it in, logged it on the console. So I'll just check whether this is working. So I'll add a read form. So we have called that function inside this function that runs on clicking insert, and we'll just check whether this is working, and if it's working, it will be logged on. We can see whatever is there on the console. So I'll just refresh this once, and then roll number, let's say 101, name, gender, and there we go. And here I'll just hit insert, and I'll check inspect and console, and there we have it, 101 Athar mail Indore. Again, if I hit insert, it again gets logged on the console. So it's working. So next we'll write the code for inserting this inside in Firebase. So I'll just call the function for each case because we need that every time. This. Okay. So starting with insert. So what we do is we write Firebase dot database dot reference Now we'll reference it to students, let's say student slash plus role v, and then at this inside students, or at this roll number, whatever roll number we get from the input field, on this roll number we have to set roll number as role v, name as name v, gender as gender v. Sorry, this will be comma instead of a semicolon, and finally address as address v. There we go. So this will do the job. This will insert the data inside Firebase, and then we'll add an alert, data inserted. So as soon as the data is inserted, we'll get an alert, data inserted. So I'll just save this and I'll refresh this. I'll write everything, and right now it's empty. So as soon as I hit insert, I got this alert, data inserted. And in Firebase we can check here student is created, and inside that student we have roll number 101, and inside that we have all the data that we wanted to insert in this. So now what I want is, as soon as I hit this button, this data should be cleared. So for do means this input field should be empty, because suppose if I want to add something new in this, so I don't want to select each of these and hit backspace again and again. So I'll just make this field empty by again referencing to these input fields, and then assigning it with empty, and assigning it empty. So document dot get element by id, the element role, and its value we want to set to nothing. So just this line we'll copy it down just to make the code a little bit clear. There we go. So role name, gender, and address. So these IDs are the IDs of the input fields. This role, name, gender, and address. These input fields. So there we go. So now when I insert anything, so let's say 102, let's say name, gender, address, and insert. After hitting insert, uh, there's some problem here. Anyway, that's not a big deal. We'll check it later. But again, as you can see, in 102 we have the roll number 102 inside students, and again all the four things are inserted. So next, moving on to the read function. So when I click read, this function will be called. So first of all, it will read the form, and next, for getting the data, we'll use this Firebase dot database dot ref student plus roll v, whatever roll number we have entered on. So value function snap. So what this does is it checks whether this rule number is present. If it is present, then only it will run this function. Otherwise, it won't. So that's as simple as that. It will check whether this entry is there in the database. If it is there, then it will run this function. Otherwise, it won't run this function. So this goes document dot get element by ID, and this time the ID is again role dot value and snap dot and dot phone number. There we go, and we'll just copy this 4 times. And here we'll make the changes: name, gender, address, and here we had roll number, name, gender, address, again same. So roll number, name, gender, address. There we go. So we have some error here. We'll just check what it is. Oh, okay. So this bracket doesn't finish here. It ends here. There we go. So that was a simple mistake. First it will check whether this value is present. Then it will run this function, and that's it. So on if this value is present, then only this will run it. And this I've saved it, and now I'll see whether this is working. So for reading, I only need to add the roll number. So let's say 101. I'll refresh this once. 101 read, and we got this Atharva mail in the. So I have another roll number 102. So now if I read it, I get all this. So maybe I didn't refresh the last time. That's why it's not working. I'll try it again. Now when I hit insert, yeah, there you go. So whatever is inside the input fields, it gets removed. I didn't refresh the last time I was running this. So now, as you can see, another field has been added. So now we have done two things out of the CRUD operations: create and read. Now what we need to do is update and delete. So if I want to make any changes to whatever I have already added in, already inserted in the database, I use update and I use delete. So the update function, as soon as the update button is clicked, this function is run. So first it will read the form again, as we have done previously, and next for updating we do something like this. Sorry, there we go. Database dot reference to int plus row v dot update, and inside this update we need to add whatever we need to update. So first of all, let's say roll number to roll v, then name to name v, then gender to gender B, and lastly address to address B. There. Excuse me. We won't be updating the roll number because the roll number we have used as a primary key in this. So that's why whatever roll number is there, it will be fixed. We have to add the roll number in the input field, and whatever roll number this is referencing to, the entry, all the other entries in that will be updated. So once this is done, we'll add an alert, uh, data updated. There we go. And next we'll again clear whatever clear the input fields. So I'll just copy this from up and paste this up. There we go. As simple as that. So I'll run this again. I'll refresh this. So first, let's say I want to update rule number 101 this entry. So let's say I want to change this to something else. I want to change name to something else. I want to change the gender. There we go. So now if I hit update, I get data updated, and under this 101 you can see everything is changed except for the roll number, which is the primary key. So now if I read roll number 101, I get the new data, whatever is present there. So now lastly, we need to delete data. So for that, again, we have already created this on click listener on the delete button, and we have called read form function, and next we'll do something like this. A database. Sorry. Mm, Go dot reference to student. Inside student, we need roll number, roll B dot remove, and that's pretty much it. We will remove the entry at this roll number inside student, and next we'll add an alert. This time data deleted, and we'll again clear whatever is in the input fields. So there we go. And that's pretty much it. So I'll just, let's say I want to delete roll number 101. So once I have added 101 here, I'll hit delete. Oh no, I'm sorry, I haven't refreshed it yet. So once I refresh this 101, when I hit delete, the page is data deleted, and there we go. This is red and it goes up. Within fraction of seconds, it uh, deletes it, updates it, reads it, everything. So that's why it's a real time database. It works in real time. So that's pretty much it. Uh, we have performed the CRUD operations. We had created the web page, a simple web page in the last session, and now we have backed it up with Firebase, and we have performed CRUD operations on this. So you can use these things for various things like authentication. We can creating users and all that. So if I want to take some email ID, I want to take password. I took email and password, and then I can store it in the real time database, and I can then check it in the read section, like when the user is logging in. So I can read the data that I have already there, and if it's present, if that same email ID with that password is present, then I know the user is authentic and I can let the user in. So that is one of the examples how we can use this. But Firebase also provides you already built-in features for authentication. So if you can check it out. Everything about Firebase is given in the docs, the Firebase documentation. So you can also check it out there. It has everything. Add Firebase. We can add Firebase to plenty of projects, be it web, Android, Flutter, C++, Unity, iOS, whatnot. So yeah, that's it for the session, guys. Thank you very much uh, for attending the session, and I hope you learned something. And thank you.